And they didn't know what the P was for until he was on the train to England, and a nurse came through and gave him a shot of penicillin. And then they found out what the P was for. The ones with a P on them got penicillin, and which was a new medication at that time. And he recuperated in England and then went back to the front lines and joined his old company. Well, we lived in Supply when I was born in Supply, and we moved to the Richardson place down on Kurt River when I was 6 years old, and we lived there till I was 13.
What year was that? What year was that?
I don't know.
You were 13.
I was born in 23.
Okay.
So if I was 13, it was 36.
Okay.
But we had fun. We did. We played with each other. There was 7 of us, and because my older sister was married, and we had fun. We had wagon wheel tires, the metal tire that we could roll, and then we had sticks with tin cans mashed and nailed to the bottom of this stick that you could go along and push the tire with without getting, because sometimes they had little nicks or something that would hurt your hands. We had lots of thorn trees, and going barefooted, everybody stuck thorns in their feet. And I remember one time I had a thorn in my foot so deep it seemed like Daddy gouged his knife all the way through my foot to get that thorn out. But when he got it out, he filled it full of coal oil, and that was the end of it. Yeah, I was raised on coal oil. That was the medication of the day. And there's no better medication when you get a snake bite than coal oil. There was they had a revival going on at Pittman Church, and there was a family that was going to church, and it was kind of like dusty dark, and one of them got bit on the ankle by a snake, and they went into the house that was there, and they couldn't, all the coal oil they could find was in the lamp. So they poured it out in a wash pan and held the wash pan up on the side where it would soak in that snake bite. And when the people came home from church and found them in their house, they was just glad that they had enough coal oil in the lamp to take care of the snake bite. And it was a copperhead snake that had hit the girl. We had lots of snakes. Lots and lots of snakes. I killed snakes. It was 7 foot long a lot of times. Every year we had a overflow, and the snakes would get out. I never saw that many snakes in the river. I don't know where they came from. But these old sloughs would be full. And we'd be chopping cotton, and the dogs would be in the thickets around, and here they'd come out, yep, 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 yep. And you could just bet they had a snake in there. And I'd take my hoe, go kill it. And I bet I've killed, well, over 100. And one time, on a Sunday afternoon, it had been rainy. It had been a real rainy spring, and we hadn't got any garden planted at home down in the valley. But we put a garden up on the hill. And I was going to go up there and hoe the garden the next day. And that night I dreamed I got bit by a rattlesnake. And I was almost afraid to go up there the next morning, but I went. But every little racket I jumped. But I had gotten finished with the hoeing and started home, and the old dog came out of the fence row, yep, yep, yep. And I stopped and listened and heard this snake rattle. And up there I thought, do I go on home and leave it? And maybe next time I come back it'll bite me. Or do I go and see if I can kill it? So I went over to where I could see it, and it was coiled with its head sticking up like it was ready to strike. And I came down with that hoe with both hands as hard as I could come down, and then just turn my hoe loose and run. And I stood over by the gate for a long time and finally ventured back over to get my hoe. And I had cut that snake's head off just about that far back. That's about this length the head was. But it was laying on the ground. So that was the end of the snake story.